Welcome to the Believe the Hope podcast, where inspiration meets reality. Join us as we delve into stories of resilience, triumph, and the relentless pursuit of hope. Whether you're seeking encouragement or simply a reminder of the power within us all, this podcast is your guide. From personal journeys to expert insights, we explore what it means to believe in hope against all odds. Get ready to be inspired, uplifted, and empowered. This is Believe the Hope.
But sometimes people get so stuck in waiting for a clear answer that they don't ever move their feet and actually take action, right? So it's that ready, fire, aim, and it's like they're just ready, right? Like they're never actually preparing to take any action. And so we always stress that, let's take action, let's get things moving in the right direction, and we can always course correct as we need to along the path. But if we just trying to get the steady aim the whole time, we're never actually going to fire. We're never actually going to take that first step moving forward. And then we're never really going to have the chance to see the results.
To another episode of the Believe the Hope podcast. I am your host, Paul Nottoli, and I'm here with Dr. Ole Olson. Dr. Olson is a chiropractic physician with a profound specialization in the field of neuropathy and holistic wellness. Because of the suffering of his own dad with nerve damage, Dr. Olson has a relentless dedication to improving the lives of those struggling with neuropathic conditions. Dr. Olson has emerged as a leading figure in the healthcare community, combining an extensive knowledge, compassionate approach, and innovative techniques to provide unparalleled relief and healing. So thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Olson.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So you provide a lot of hope. Nerve pain is no joke for many people. And so this would be the perfect person to talk to about providing hope into the world, not only in your clinic, but in the surrounding community. So I always ask, because everyone has different perspectives and you provide a lot of hope to everybody else, but what does hope mean to you personally?
Yeah, I would say, hope for me is just, faith in something unseen. So for our patients, for example, it's believing that they can get well, right? And that's usually the first step. And I think when we see people that are hopeless, those are the most challenging patients, because they've already got a roadblock in front of them without having that hope of something, or of a better condition, a better life.
I like to give everybody a perspective on stories or challenges that they may have had where they had to rely on hope and dig deep to overcome any adversity or challenges. So can you think of an example or time where you had
Well, being a business owner, there's lots of times where you have to have hope.
Yeah.
Um,
That.
Opening your doors with no patience and no money, and wondering how you're going to pay your rent that first month when you're locked into a contract. So there's been lots of moments of needing hope in my career. So I mean, that's probably the easiest one for me, is just looking at the business, because there's ebbs and flows to business. There's times where business is really good. There's times where business is really challenging, but just always having that hope. For me, I'm a faith person. So I put my faith in God, my hope in God. And so for me, it was kind of like, I just keep plugging away, doing the things that I can do, controlling what I can control, and then just leaving it up to Him for everything else. And so that's worked out well for me in life. Obviously, it's not without its own challenges and struggles, like I said, but just always knowing that, just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and having that expectation, that hope that things are going to get better and turn around.
Specific mantra or anything, or a saying or something that you always go to when you're having these challenges that you look for, or say to yourself when things are not looking as as well as they should?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, the one foot in front of the next is probably a big one for me. Also, the book The Gap and the Gain is probably one of my favorite books, and I recommend that to a lot of my clients that I've coached throughout the years. But in there, he talks about, especially for people that are driven, we're always looking at, we set our goal, and as soon as we're getting anywhere near it or we meet it, we're already setting the next goal and the next goal, and we keep going further down the road. So he says, that's where you're looking at the gap, because you're never going to get to where you want to be, right? So taking that moment to pause and look backwards and say, wow, look how far we've come. And so when I'm in those moments of struggle, that's where I really start to pause and reflect on where we were and realize that, I would have, I would probably was probably praying for struggles like this at one point in my life, right?
Mhm.
And so now to be here and to be struggling, it's like, yeah, this is a struggle I never thought I'd be dealing with because I never imagined we'd be where we are right now. So taking that second to reflect back on where we came from, that's probably the biggest one for me.
People with neuropathy or just neurological conditions in your working practice probably do come in feeling hopeless or almost hopeless in that despair, almost apathy. Uh, Saying or how are you helping them see that there is hope and that they can heal and that they can come out of it regardless of whatever their past has been before leading up to stepping foot in your office?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's really our focus on that initial patient encounter is, figuring out, well, first off, is this person a good candidate, right? We don't want to be trying to sell hope to somebody we don't think is a good candidate. So we do some high level testing that just kind of gives us a good idea that yes, this person is a good candidate or no, they're not. But when we figure out they are, that's what we tell people in our team, in our trainings and stuff. It's like, if that person doesn't walk away hopeful after the first visit, we've severely screwed up. So just kind of walking them through the history of what the things that they've tried and really just getting them to realize that although they've tried numerous things, I mean, some people have been doing this for, not only just years, but decades. So imagine how many different things they've tried throughout the years. So we kind of show them that even if there's things that they may have tried that were actually good, it's really this comprehensive approach that we have. So showing them that it's putting all the pieces of the puzzle together at the same time, not just trying this one thing here, this one thing here. So we kind of guide them through that. And then obviously, we've got lots of testimonials around the office. And, sometimes we even have them interact with patients that are in the office at the time, just so they can talk to someone firsthand who's felt like them, because most people come in skeptical and hopeless, and we've got to get them turned around on that hopeless side as quickly as possible so that there's a chance that we can help them.
What you said, because the testimonials are just the people in there. Is like you said, it can be something that you're looking for that may not be that may be unseen, but you know that you can get there. And so they can see themselves or they can see that testimonial like, oh, I have this. Even though they're a unique case or they're individual, a case by case basis, the aspect of that, it's important for them to feel like, oh, I am part of something bigger. I have something I can look forward to on the other side. Kind of see that future, but also respect the reality that they're in at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's just together, all together, and not just like I think a lot of times with hope when we're throwing just random stuff or grasping at random stuff because we're so desperate in a time of challenge that a lot of activity, but we're not actually accomplishing anything because it's or just in general without a specific goal or attention to it or the right order of things, can almost often make you feel hopeless even more because you feel like you're putting in all this work, but you're not actually putting the pieces together in the right order to get yourself out. So I think those are both very important.
Yeah. Yeah. What you just said there is key. I, we try to get patients to realize that their story matters, right? When the experience that they've had up to where they are, whether it was they couldn't walk their dog, they couldn't golf, they couldn't fish, they couldn't play with their grandkids, everybody has a story. And there's thousands and thousands of people that have very similar stories. And so when they share their story, they have the ability to impact someone else in a positive way because, like you said, that story triggers that, oh, my story is very similar to that one, right? It's not going to be identical. Everybody's got an individual, unique story, but there's a lot of similarities. And so when they see that similarity, they're like, oh, this person actually got better from this. And now they're back walking their dog every day. Maybe I could do that too. And now we've got that seed planted, right? Now we can start to turn the ship around.
People and positive people spread more health and positivity. It's contagious. Me to my next question is, how do you feel listeners or that listeners and anybody in your community help spread more hope in their community on a regular basis?
I mean, I think that's just, how you approach everything in life. For me, it's kind of the glass half full, the glass half empty, right? You've got those people where everything is bad, everything is the end of the world, everything is collapsing, everything is being done to them, versus the other side where it's always a positive outlook. And so for me, I think it's just taking that positive outlook into everything that I do. We just lost a great team member in one of our offices, and we could have gone down this path of negativity and, oh geez, what are we gonna do now? Well, and my response was good. Like, that's a great opportunity for them. I'm glad they got that job that they were looking for, and we'll just figure it out, right? Like, and so I just don't let anything really slow me down, and it's just always just keep learning. Another book I love is either what the heck is the book called? You either fail or you learn, or you fail, or something like that. I can't remember. You don't fail, you only learn, or something like that. But it's been a while since I've read it. But it's a great book too, because it just kind of reinforces that lesson of, even when you fall on your face, it wasn't that you failed, you just learned another way not to do something. And if you take that approach in every aspect of life, right, you're just always getting better, you're always growing, you're always learning, and nothing ever is a stopper for you.
And I have that, and you have that attitude. You definitely build more hope in just in your surroundings on a regular basis. Back to the contagious of doing that, of being positive, and um,
Oh, I
yeah.
remember the book name. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
So yes, you
That's
do,
what I
and
want.
that's a good analogy for hope. And yeah, a lot of times those uh, the embrace the suck phases, I've said on many times on this episode, is learning phases, and that's actually where we have the most growth, and that's actually where we build the most resiliency and hope. But it's also the most challenging, because oftentimes you're not necessarily seeing the outcome in those phases, or you have to kind of do self-reflection, and even a little bit of self-auditing, which is easy. And and then if you do that, obviously that, and people want to be around you, they see that contagious. They see, like, oh man, this happened to them, but they're always smiling. They're always doing this. They're always treating people with respect, hope, and in the world and community on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's a little bit with the testimonials, but how do you think other people will maintain hope in the future, but also grounded in the reality to take the necessary steps and action to move forward to that future?
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a hard one sometimes, because you have people that, uh, and like I said, I'm a person of faith, and so when someone wants to go pray about something, I totally get that, and I think that's a good idea. But sometimes people get so stuck in waiting for a clear answer that they don't ever move their feet and actually take action, right? So it's that ready, fire, aim, and it's like they're just ready, right? Like they're never actually preparing to take any action. And so we always stress that, let's take action, let's get things moving in the right direction, and we can always course correct as we need to along the path. But if we just sit here trying to get the steady aim the whole time, we're never actually going to fire. We're never actually going to take that first step moving forward. And then we're never really going to have the chance to see the results.
In The Pursuit of Happiness, where they gave that analogy where the guy was drowning, and a boat came, and he's like, no thanks, God will save me. Boat came, and he says, no thanks, God will save me. Another boat came, no, God will save me. And then he drowns, and then he gets to heaven, and he's like, God, why didn't you save me? He's like, what are you talking about? I sent you 3 boats. And so he was almost like waiting but he literally sent him 3 boats to do it. And so I think that analogy of the aim, 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 and never fire, or never step out in that faith, never step out and to step out and do something better, which is my definition of hope, is giving someone permission to do something greater, step into something greater than, or the next phase that may be scary or uncertain, but you don't know what it looks like, but you're stepping out in faith, and you're stepping out in to be better. So when you said that, aim, 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 I thought that's the first analogy I always have in my head about, oh, I sent you 3 boats, and then you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't take action, even though it was
That's a
right
good
there.
one.
So a lot of
Yep.
times you see that with some clients. They're in your office. That was like a sign. They were in the right place, or maybe not your office, but someone else's office, or in the right section to get help. But they're waiting for the perfect condition. They're waiting for the perfect answer and take that step. And then that opportunity's missed. And I can think of a lot of times in business that I've done that because it's like, oh, it's not perfect. Or even this podcast starting, I kept delaying for like a year, saying I wasn't ready, I wasn't the right person, I wasn't this and that. And it is, if I'm not going to do it, someone else will. And I just had to record button and get people recording because if hope wasn't going to wait for someone else, was going to do it if I wasn't going to do it. So, yes, I can relate to the aim, nothing perfect.
I've never done that, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, hopefully you've never done that. Hopefully you've always taken action when you needed to.
Oh, we've all made those mistakes where we just sit there waiting and waiting.
Um, any other insights that you would like to add about hope, or just thing you'd like to add in the message? The hope, inspiration.
No, I just, I think we kind of touched on it a little bit already, but to me, it's just you get out what you put into things, right? So in all aspects of, fitness, nutrition, your faith, everything. If you don't put in the work, if you don't do the stuff, right, you can't expect to get the results. And the same goes with faith and hope, right? It's like, that soldier can't remember if it was a soldier or not, but he's like, I believe, Lord, help me with my unbelief, right? It's that sort of, we're always going to have doubts. We're always going to have questions about whatever we're moving into something new, whether it's a treatment or whether it's a new fitness program or a new diet or whatever it is. There's always going to be the back of your mind saying, is this the right way? Should I be doing this, right? But it's kind of just taking those thoughts captive, right? Like we're instructed to do, take your thoughts captive. So take those thoughts captive, say, hey, we've tried these other things before. This is something new. I'm going to give it my all. I believe this is something that's going to get me moving in the right direction. And even patients that come to us that have tried all these different things, right? And they're just kind of burned out from it almost. It's like, I get it, right? I've been there. How many people have tried diet after diet after diet after diet after diet and just never got the results, right? But there's going to be some diet, or there's going to be some fitness program, there's going to be something that will help kind of connect the dots for you. And all of a sudden you'll start down a better path, right? I think of golf. Like I've gotten into golf lately. I took a few years off and I got back into it. And it's one of the best games for me. I love it because of the challenge, but it's also so frustrating, right? Like you hit a great shot and then you hit 5 terrible shots. You hit a great shot, it's like, what is going on? But I keep trying new things, tweaking things, and all of a sudden I hit a couple good shots before my 5 terrible shots, right? And it's like, I just keep compounding on those things with the faith, the hope that one day I'll actually be a decent golfer. I'll never be a great golfer, but be a decent golfer, right? Or it'll be more fun and I won't be so irritated by it. But it just, if I just had stopped after trying one thing, I would have never got to this point that I'm at now, right? And once again, now I can stop and look back and be like, wow, I was really bad then. Now look at where I'm at. Still not where I want to be, but I'm definitely moving in the right direction. So just keeping that hope alive by taking control of those, or taking those thoughts captive. Don't let that negativity seep in. And even to the point where sometimes you have to remove or at least reduce the amount of time you spend with certain people, because there are certain people that we all have in our lives that are just negativity about everything. And it's like, the sun could be coming up in the morning. It's a beautiful day. And they're like, the sun's too bright today. It's like always something to have a negative spin on it. and those people will wear on you. So I try to limit my interaction with people like that. I try to surround myself with positive people, uplifting people, people that are hopeful in life. Because, the one thing that really stood out to me, someone said, which is a very common thing, but I'd never heard it until, I was in my 30s probably, but you're the result of the 5 closest people in your circle, right? So who are the people that I allow to be in my inner circle, my inner sphere of influence, that they're influencing me and I'm influencing them? I've got to be very cautious with that. And I try to teach my kids that too. It's like, you can be friends with everybody, but your inner circle, you need to pick very wisely, because whatever they are, you're going to be the 6th one.
That brings in the thoughts, it brings in the intention. Since you're seeing that results to evidence, which also will inspire hope, becomes a negative, or see that a lot on all kinds of places now, uh, especially on social media, because it gets the most attention often too, which is a lot of times why people result to it, if they're hopeless or hurt or in fear. You start to see this because it does garner the most attention. I want to have these conversations to have positive, and whether we're in your inner circle or not, this is something that we can put in your ear on a regular basis, this message of hope and caring and understanding and positivity, that you can have that seed in your brain on a regular basis, to move forward and drown out some of the negativity and darkness that's going on in the world on a regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Others connect with you, learn more about you, and follow you for more information, whether they need help or they may have a family member that needs help, or just inspired by today's conversation.
Yeah. Easiest way, just go to our website, asudahealth.org. So ASUTA health.org. They could sign up for our newsletter, or, just look around, reach out to us. They have questions. So, we try to create a lot of resources. We also have a Asuda Health YouTube channel. So I put videos out every week talking about different aspects of things that they can do on their own, whether it's exercises or nutritional or supplementation or whatever. So lots of different things that we give out just for free content for people to check out, and hopefully continue to learn and grow down their path.
Awesome. So yes, check out Asuda Health and then connect with them there. And watch the YouTube channel, and we'll link that as well in the show notes for anybody listening. So all the information the website will be there, the YouTube channel will be linked there.
Well, thanks for having me on. It was great to talk with you, and like always, and look forward to doing it again.
Thank you, Ole. Thank you, Dr. Olson. So thank you for helping spread the message of hope, getting it out there, person at a time, one reach at a time. And until next time, we'll bring you another episode of the Believe the Hope podcast. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of the Believe the Hope podcast. We hope you would love to share the message of hope with others and help spread the message of hope in your communities as well as around the world. The easiest way to do that is to leave a 5-star review. If this episode or any of the episodes of this podcast have brought you any value, hope, inspiration, or more positivity into your life. So whatever device you're listening on, please leave a 5-star review and help spread the message of hope. And until next time, we'll bring you another episode of the Believe in the Hope podcast.